Alright, and now the next film I have is, some of you are probably not gonna believe this, The Nut Job. Now, again, like, as I've said multiple times about all the other films, not perfect. Definitely not flawless. Definitely has a lot of things wrong with it. Definitely can understand. Like, the bad stuff about it, like, is that I am aware, like, of course, like, the humor is mainly just kind of nut puns and burp or fart jokes. Like, well, I don't really remember much like burp jokes, but there are fart jokes, though. Actually, from my eyes, I don't really think that there are like so many fart jokes. Like, well, again, like it's just kind of like, oh, it's what like they're doing when they're not making nut puns. But like I can kind of only like think of like maybe a couple times when there were like fart jokes, like in the scene where like the groundhog things are like digging a hole, looking, trying to break into the nut shop, and are all like, hey, like let's go down here, let's make this way. Hey, who keeps friggin' farting? Stop farting. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you up if if you keep farting. And that stupid stuff. And oh, and and the other part is where Will Arnett, surly squirrel, is like all like I guess he sleeps in the nut shop, and he's all like, oh, I ate too much cheese. Going down. Uh, those are probably like the only times. Like, I could be forgetting a bit, but I don't know. Anyhow, and another thing that a lot of people don't like about it is, of course, which leads into another main problem with the film. Like, the characters of the film who aren't the villain characters are all either obnoxious or are all either obnoxious and stupid or completely are just like d bags. like excuse me again. Um like of course the main character Surly Squirrel, like he is a d bag to a lot of people. He wants to do his own thing, but honestly, I don't find him that badly written a character because, well, I do see why probably some people wouldn't like that, but well, a thing about me is that I'm sure as you're picking up as I'm talking is that, well, growing up, like I wasn't always very social. I wasn't always very like socially, like I wasn't always talkative. I didn't have many friends growing up. Like, I do have more friends now, but like, well, the one consistent friend that I did have, like, the one consistent friend that I do still have is like, well, like, he's also like a little mentally and socially disabled, kind of a bit like me, because, well, I'm not that smart. And anyways, like, I guess I kind of have a soft spot for like for like certain characters who like are like just kind of on their own. They don't want to be with a group. They just kind of do their own thing and do it themselves. Like, I guess I just kind of have a soft spot for those kind of characters because I feel like I am kind of that character. And also the animation, like, well, nothing spectacular. Like it still looks better than a friggin' Food Fight or Norm of the North. Like it definitely doesn't, like, it looks more theatrical and it doesn't feel like some last minute direct to video movie put in theaters, like again like Norm of the North was, or Legend of Oz, or anything like that, or The Wildlife. Gosh. Anyhow, yeah, so again, as I've said, again, I'm just repeating myself. as I've said with other films, to wrap up my thoughts on Nut Job, like, well, like, definitely not perfect, has a lot of flaws, but I just have a soft spot for it. And another thing that I also like as well, because since I was a kid, one of my favorite animals of all time, squirrels. And there's finally a movie about them. How can I go wrong with that? And like, yeah, also another thing that I don't know if people would have problems with, but there is also the factor of how like Liam Neeson raccoon, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, he turns into one of the bad guys. Like, what? That is one thing wrong about it. Like, what? How could you do that, man? How could you make Liam Neeson the bad guy? Could you, man? And yeah, like it would have been perfectly fine if it was just the two, like the three, the actually four, like the four human mafia guy characters just robbing a bank. Like, it would have been fine if they just were the villains, but apparently they just had to make Liam Neeson raccoon another bad guy. Like, yeah, it's also like it's one of those films like where it's like there's kind of like two bad guys, and also it's like it's yeah, a lot of people kind of say like it's kind of like an over the hedge ripoff. Like, it's of course the character who needs to get, I guess, like food, like it's a mission to get food and such like that. And like also like, while of course there's two bad guys, like two of them, or like more of them human, the other and actually an actual animal, of course. And yeah, and I guess in a sense Over the Hedge is probably the better movie, but for what it's worth, I still like Nut Job. Okay, that's my thoughts on Nut Job. That's about that.